Welcome to Tech in the Car. This is the amazing brand new Kia EV6. I've got the GT-Line S and the GT-Line here, and I'm going to show you around them and talk about the differences in this video on Tech in the Car. So on the left here, we have the red GT-Line S, and other side we have the blue GT-Line. Now these cars are really cool because they've got 800 volt technology, which means you can charge up to 62 miles in 5 minutes, which is super fast charging. The EV6 has two choices of powertrain, 226 or 321 horsepower. The range of these is over 300 miles even on the GT-Line S, and then there's a 577 horsepower GT as well, which is coming. I love the design. We've got this new tiger face design on the front here with these really cool sculpted LED headlights. These cars are based on the new eGMP platform. This journey started with the Kia Soul EV back in 2015, and there's due to be 11 new models of EV from Kia due by 2026. It's a big push towards electric from Kia, and these cars are really revolutionary in their design and the features they have on them. In the UK, these cars come with a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery, which is good for over 300 miles of range, and they can charge up 10 to 80% in 18 minutes on a fast rapid charger. These cars come by standard with 19-inch wheels. The GT can get up to 21 inches. Let's have a look at the back of the car. We have a really cool light bar design at the back. Welcome inside the EV6. So inside here, we've got these two curved 12.3-inch displays, which have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay on them. And we've got this multi-mode display, which lets you change between navigation and climate by pressing a button, and it's a screen which changes. I really think this is a really clever idea. I love how the LED lights are integrated with these little dashes along here, which matches the design of the dashboard, which is kind of angular with a cool graphic on the top of it, which I really like the look of. In the middle here, this has got a different design to the Ioniq 5, which is its sister. We've got our center console here. We've got a rotary dial for your gears. We've got a big start button right here in front of you, and then our seat adjustment buttons here for the steering wheel and the heated seats. On the GT-Line S, that also has ventilated seats, and they're capacitive. On here, they're actually physical buttons. We've got two cup holders. We've got a nice spacious glove compartment there, and we've got key charging on top here, and then I can access the 360 camera or the reversing camera depending on what trim you have with these buttons under here, the parking sensors and the auto hold. So it's very self-explanatory, simple in here. I really like the design inside this car. It's really good. The displays in front of us, like I said, they're really clear and they're really easy to see what's going on. This is very much the same as the Ioniq 5 with the design in the middle here, but it's, again, simple to use, easy to understand. It shows you your range, it shows you your speed. So you've got some control there. I really like that. Down in the middle of the car, we have two USBs. We have a USB Type-C and a USB Type-A, which I'm plugged into here. We've got also another USB Type-C and a 12-volt charger. We've got a nice big tray here, which I've got my phone plugged into with Android Auto. And the bins have got lots of space as well. And I love, again, the LED lighting inside the bins. One thing I really like about this car is the LED lighting. If you also have the GT-Line S, you also get the Meridian sound system, which has got 14 speakers. And of course, the panoramic glass sunroof, as well as the lane assist camera, which pops up in front of you to let you know whether there's somebody in your blind spot, as well as the surround view 360 camera. So this is a really nice interior. And of course, we mustn't forget this has got the relaxation seats where you can, with one press of the button, push it back and have a nap. And then you can put it back again and it will bring me back to my original position. So again, really cool, especially if you're charging like we are now with Grid Serve. To have that one touch button to adjust the seats is a really cool thing. Right, let's have a look at space in the back now and see how much space there is back there. So how much space is there in the back of the Kia EV6? So I have a ton of space, just like the Hyundai. There's a ton of space in front of my knee. I've got good headroom. We got these cool vents on the side of the doors. And just like the Hyundai, I can adjust these backwards and forwards like that. So there's a lot of space back here. Really comfortable. These seats have a really interesting design. I think that's really cool. And there are two USB-Cs on the side here of the seats, which I think is also very clever. Really comfortable space in here. Let's have a look now in the boot. And then in the boot, there's 490 litres of space, which is enough space to fit in all your filming equipment. And there's a cover that you can pull across here as well. Lots of space. This model of the GT-Line S also has a automatic tailgate, which goes down like that. Welcome to the inside of the Kia EV6. This is the GT-Line edition. There's also the GT-Line S, which I'm going to drive a bit later. So this car has 226 horsepower. It's rear-wheel drive, just like all the models of the Kia EV6, including the Air. They all have ranges starting at 300 miles with a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery. So these have got one battery type as standard, which means across the range it's really, really simple. You're basically just looking at the trim levels, Air, GT-Line or GT-Line S, or obviously the 577 horsepower GT when that's available if you want to go for that. And then you just have to think about whether you want all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. The Air is only available rear-wheel drive, but the GT-Line and GT-Line S are both available as all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. Obviously, the all-wheel drive has slightly faster 0 to 60 times because it's got a motor at the front and the back, whereas the other models only have the motor at the back. So this car to drive, first of all, interesting comparison with the Hyundai Ioniq 5, because I think that's what lots of people are maybe cross-shopping this car with, and they're looking at the Hyundai or the Kia EV6. So I really, really like the Kia EV6, and I really, really like the Ioniq 5. There are some differences though. First of all, the ride on this car is a bit stiffer, a bit firmer. I actually slightly prefer that. It seems to be slightly less bouncy than the Ioniq 5. Obviously, some people prefer the feel of the Ioniq 5 over this, but I prefer this. I also, if I'm honest, prefer the screens on this car. They've got a slight curve, two 12.3-inch screens. They've got a slight curve to them, which looks a bit cooler to me. And it's a very different design philosophy, whereas the Ioniq 5 feels a bit more like your relaxing favorite lounge with the white colors. This car feels more like a modern lounge. This feels like the kind of lounge where you have cool mood lighting, and because this car has cool mood lighting. Now, obviously, on the top spec of the Ioniq 5, you also can get cool mood lighting, but every model in the range on the Kia EV6 has the cool lighting. I prefer the look of this, but there are many, many similarities, including these screens, which are the same. The infotainment system is the same. It runs exactly the same system, and you know, it's a really good system with Android Auto, with Apple CarPlay, with a really, really simple, easy to use system. So you're not going to get confused, you're not going to get overcomplicated. Of course, you can check out my infotainment guide on the Ioniq 5, which is exactly the same as this car internally as far as the graphics go and everything and the operation, so have a look at that. There are some other changes here. I really like the multimodal display. It swaps when you press a button between climate controls and your media controls, and the little knobs let you adjust either the temperature or the volume and skip the tracks. I think that's really, really clever. I really like that. And then, you know, you've got a different design in the middle here. The interior is slightly different. If I'm honest with you, this is probably more to my liking than the Ioniq 5, but again, that's down to taste. Going back to the driving, you know, they're exactly the same in terms of driving position. You can see very clearly. The bonnet on the EV6 is much more raked down, which they call a tiger face design. Previously, Kia had the tiger nose design, so this is a tiger face design. The difference between these models, between the GT-Line, the GT-Line S, the Air, there's very, very little in terms of the driving feel. Obviously, with the GT-Line S, because you've got the all-wheel drive, you've got 321 horsepower instead of 226, there's definitely more grunt, there's definitely more shove, because you would expect that because it's got more power and it's got more torque. But like, I would say the main benefits here are, and I would personally go for the top trim, the GT-Line S, because of the interior extras in terms of technology that you get, which you don't get on the other trim models. I think having the vehicle to load 360 camera, surround view camera, having the head-up display, having the sunroof, they're all things which just add a bit to the car, which make it a bit more special. You know, as far as the regen braking goes, so, you know, again, just like the Ioniq 5, you have several versions of regen braking. You can adjust the level by pressing the paddle on the left-hand side, but you can also have something called iPedal, which automatically uses the cameras and adjusts how much regen braking you're getting. So that's really easy to use. And of course, if you don't like the regen braking, you can just turn it off, go back to level 0, and then you can just drive like a normal car. I like one pedal driving, but it's fair to say that when I started driving EVs, maybe one pedal driving wasn't my favorite thing to do, but I've got used to it, and I think it's definitely a benefit for EVs. Driving the GT-Line S. So this is the top model that you can currently get, and it's got around 100 horsepower more than the GT-Line. So it's got 321 horsepower compared to 226 horsepower, which means, and also it's all-wheel drive, so it is much faster feeling. It's got better acceleration and better torque. Now, let's be honest, 226 horsepower is faster than most hot hatches. So the GT line is already faster than most cars that people buy when they want a hot car, a performance version. This car at 321 horsepower is more powerful than a VW Golf R, is more powerful than lots of other cars, and because it's electric, it has more torque. So you can really feel it. And we put this car and the GT line next to each other earlier, and we had a little go to see what the acceleration was like, and the GT Line S is definitely faster in real world comparing them side by side, which is really to be expected. So you're paying for better performance, but you're also paying for some new cool technology. So you've got a lane assist assistant which flashes up onto the screen so you can see what is in your left or right side when you indicate to change lanes, which is a really good thing to have. You've got that surround view camera, you've got the automatic parking, which lets you pull forward and pull backward and lets you show the car moving in and out of spaces, which means that if you're parking in a space where there isn't much room, you don't have to worry about having to squeeze in the car. So you've got lots of extra little conveniences and bits of technology which are on this car, which are not on the GT line and not on the Air, which I really like. And as I said, when driving the GT line, I would really recommend. The one negative of this is there's slightly less range. And I do say slightly less range. It's about 20 miles less range. And I think obviously if you put your foot down, you're probably gonna have even less range if you're driving the car in sport mode, because obviously it's gonna go faster because it's got more power and it's gonna use more energy and more electricity. But you know what, I think if you pay for the higher performance version, the top spec model, the GT Line S, then you expect that maybe when you buy the car. But just keep that in mind. But the other conveniences are all really worth it. And one thing I really like about Kia is it's really easy to configure these cars. All you literally need to do is choose a paint option. There are 6 paint options, including on the top specs, you can get a matte paint. And that's it, you just choose the paint. Everything else is included based on the trim. So you don't have to select to have the 360 surround camera, you don't have to select to have the remote parking. All of that stuff just is there with that trim level. So it makes it really easy to choose the trim level that you're going for. And I think that's a really good thing from Kia. I think people can sometimes get confused about what trims to get and when to get them. I think that's a really beneficial thing for this car. And I love it. I love both these cars. To be fair, I love the gadgets. I'm a gadget guy, and I love having all the other stuff on the GT Line S, which this car is. But I can't complain about having a GT Line or an Air because they're both, they feel the same to drive. It's important to note that the Air feels exactly the same to drive as the GT Line. There is no difference in how it drives. It just is minus a few things which the GT Line has over it, like the GT Line S has a few tech things over the GT Line. That is it. Obviously, if you want to go top range, when the GT is available, you got 577 horsepower and over 700 Newton meters of torque. And there's actually a short video of the GT racing some literally supercars as a short on my channel, which you can check out if you want to see it. What do I think of the EV6? I think these are fantastic cars. They look amazing. They're great to drive. They're really well loaded with all the latest technology, driver assist technology. On the top lines, you get head-up display as well, and loads of other cool bits. I really like these cars. Please give this video a like if you found it useful and subscribe for more on the channel. Thank you very much.